There's only one way to wake up in the morning.
How the heck are you?
Yep, that's it. Miller.
This could end the bro hug. That would be great for you because there is nobody worse at the bro hug than one David Moulton.
And Moulton.
I used to be. 2019, I found my bro hug group.
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
All guests appear on the Goldberg Noon Abraham hotline. Goldberg-law.com.
Yes! Oh, I like
It's up to you now. It's up to you.
I like it.
Now, the best local sports show this town has ever heard. Here's Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton on this fine Tuesday, the first such one in April in 2020. We are on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com and broadcasting many a place, including the Miller and Moulton YouTube and Twitch TV channels. They are free. We encourage you to sign up for them. How the heck are you?
I'm good. I got over my one-day coronavirus funk. That was Sunday. And I'm back. It was just kind of a one-day funk.
All right. How'd school go yesterday?
Oh, terrifically. It is, like I said, I've said before, we'll probably skip the first grade. It seems to be going that well. We'll just move right to second.
Have you processed the paperwork with the Lee County School District?
Starting.
I've
applied.
They going to be okay with this?
I'm looking at it this way. I think they're just going to send her there. She's going to look at him and go, I know all these answers. Can I go somewhere where I'm challenged?
Oh, great. One of those. That'll be fantastic.
Well, my daughter after all, David.
Yeah, they'll love that, especially after the 6-month hiatus. They'll love all the kids that come in thinking they know all the answers. Although you got to figure the first couple months when the teachers and the students finally reconnect, I mean, it is going to be a big love fest. I don't know if anybody's going to go to detention before Columbus Day. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's just going to be, lovey-dovey, everybody thrilled to see each other.
No, you're right. You're right. The problem is that they're going to have to develop all new relationships with teachers because the teachers that they know will not be their teachers next year, particularly for the little ones. We're going to move to the next grade. I mean, they haven't canceled it yet, but we all know it's just inevitable. I'm to the point now where I'm wondering why some of the school districts are even holding on with some things. Like, I truly am. But then the reason why I think these things and they don't happen, and I know you're going to just cringe when I say this because it's not sports, but I get up in the morning and realize that Marco Island opened 2 of their beaches yesterday. And I went, well, that's probably why we're not making announcements about things being done for the rest of the year. If we keep people on some semblance of hold as to the not knowing, maybe they'll stay in. Or maybe they'll just reopen the beaches.
Well, then there is that. Miller and Moulton on this fine Tuesday. 479-5551. That's how you can chime in on whether or not the schools, the beaches, or sports. 479-5551. 479-5551, the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text and talk line.
Let me try that again, David. Tell you what, big announcements yesterday had to take us all by surprise in the world of golf. How's that? Is that better?
Well, you did have that, yes. That too. Some cancellations, some dates in which, it's kind of like beaches opening. We threw some dates out there. Hey, this is when we're going to be open for business. If we're the PGA, the U.S. Open, the Masters, the Ryder Cup, things like that. Although, to me, Mark, the most significant announcement that came out of that yesterday, which is being underreported in my estimation, is the fact that the PGA Tour said we're going to be back in business in mid-June. Now, without spectators, but we've been asking what sport and when is going to dip their toes into the water first. The PGA Tour yesterday said, hey, Jack's tournament, the Memorial, mid-June, book it. We're playing it. No spectators. Be there.
Okay, can we just focus on that? Because there was a lot of sports yesterday of announcements, if you will. The UFC is apparently going to find an island. I don't know if they can negotiate to use Epstein's right now because that seems to be vacant, but maybe they'll find another. You would think there's good. You'd think there's good electronics there, but the PGA Tour announced that they are coming back, and they announced that they're coming back at the Memorial.
Correct, Jack's tournament.
Yeah. Also, the first state, I believe, in the union to shut down.
Ohio.
Right?
Governor Mike DeWine was at the forefront of it, yes. He in California, I think.
Right. And the Ohio governor, when asked in the past couple of days about the NFL starting on time, he simply said, why? I mean, he just kind of gave why does it need to start in September? So I am fascinated with how the Ohio governor is going to handle this publicly. Now, privately, I think he screamed at about 6 staff members yesterday going, they did what? In my state?
Now, hold on, though. We've talked about this. I mean, you can social distance and play golf. I mean, you can.
David, I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying that this seems to be a state that is still shut down. It's not Florida.
I understand. But first off, look where they're starting. They're starting with Jack Nicklaus's tournament. All right. And I think that's strategic because no one's going to criticize Jack. Let's be honest. No one's going to criticize the sponsor attached to Jack. And since they announced there are not going to be any fans, I mean, they're making the case, okay, come on, it's 9-10 weeks from now. And we're not going to have any fans. And if any of the players who are invited don't want to come, they don't have to come. But we're gonna try this. And you got to remember, they can always 4-6 weeks from now say, yeah, well, we wanted to try it, but it's too soon. But on April 6th, they announced, you know what, 9-10 weeks from now, we're going to try to play at Jack's event in Ohio. It's a smaller field, and we're not going to have any spectators. Jack obviously thinks that it's appropriate. And like I said, no one in the industry is going to criticize Jack.
No, David, I'm not worried about the golf industry. It's the PGA Tour. They don't criticize anything.
Well, and the governor of Ohio is not going to criticize Jack either. I mean, it's Jack.
Okay. He doesn't have to criticize Jack. He can go after the tour. I mean, I would be curious to ask the Ohio governor if he was even consulted about putting a date down. I'm serious. Like, David, first off, I don't care if they're having a golf tournament or not. I'd be ecstatic to watch it. We'll watch all 4 rounds in their entirety. I find it interesting that either the first or second state in the union that said we have to shut everything down. And remember, they did this with, in the coming days, the MAC tournament in Cleveland, the first 4 in Dayton. I mean, they didn't mess around. They wasted 0 time. And they've been pretty adamant in keeping on in Ohio. And yet, the first golf tournament is scheduled to be played where? In Ohio. I find it fascinating, David. To me, whatever way they do it is fine. I totally understand your point. I understand the governor's point. And we don't know where we are in June. But also to schedule something in June seems a little quick right now. I was stunned by the June announcement. Stunned, David.
But you got to remember, Jack's living on the east coast of Florida. I mean, they're playing golf every day. And so Jack's thinking to himself, sure, we can't. I mean, well, why can't we play golf 9-10 weeks from now? I mean, we're all playing golf every day. I mean, golf courses are still open in Florida. So
Yeah, and I don't know how Palm Beach is for golf courses, because here more are closing daily. I mean, it just happened to be, I have a ton of friends who are golf pros. 3 courses shut down in the last 48 hours. Mainly because people are testing positive that live at these places.
Okay.
My golf course happens to be open, but I know that 3 others have shut down. So I don't know what Palm Beach is like. I know the East Coast has shut down more than the West Coast as far as golf.
Yeah, because Miami is a hot spot. So that makes sense. But, hey, they were going to have to try it somewhere. And we wondered, would it be June or July? But we thought golf and racing would be the first 2 sports to raise their hand and say, you know what, we're going to try it. And I do think, Mark, there's a huge difference between golf and the NFL. If for no other reason, I think Governor DeWine, when he was asked about the NFL, is thinking about having 70,000+ people at the game also. And that's, I'm guessing, partly why he said why. Why are we doing this? And I don't know if there's any correlation, but clearly television networks are involved in yesterday's announcements. Now, none of the networks commented on it, but there are complications here. I mean, there isn't for the PGA. They've decided they're going to do that in early August. Well, CBS can run the PGA in early August. It's not like they got anything else going on. All right, but the U.S. Open now is the 3rd weekend in September. That's week 2 of the NFL season. And in Fox's case, who televises the U.S. Open, it's also would have been the first day, round 1 of the U.S. Open, is their first Thursday night football game. That's if the season starts on time. And so my first thought in looking at this, because the NFL did push when it is they're going to announce their schedule back a month. Instead of it being announced next week, it's going to be announced in the 2nd week of May. And I'm wondering then, is the NFL season going to be pushed back? I mean, because I think these networks are talking to all their leagues. I mean, I think the Masters, the Masters is calling the shots, but CBS is saying, what are you guys thinking? Because we've got contracts and we've got a lot of things we got to do. We got this SEC on CBS thing. We got this NFL thing. We got contracts. Okay, so what is it you're thinking of doing? Because this is going to get sticky for us. And so I don't know what CBS is going to do the 2nd weekend of November. That, to me, is fascinating. Are they not going to run the SEC on Saturday?
Well, I did look. Sorry, David. I looked up sunset times. That was the first thing I did yesterday. When I saw this, and it was a group text with a bunch of friends of mine, and you have to love golf guys, David. Their first thing was about the fall overseeding and the course is going to play softer. I mean, there were 8 texts on the golf course playing softer. That was what their main. Then someone said, "Wow, it'll be really pretty with the colors too." I'm not joking that these were the level of text. And I looked up the sunset, David. So for the Masters, the sunset is 5:26 that Saturday. It just happened to be the date that I put in my phone. So that means that, to me, you're pushing the football games a little later, both on Saturday and Sunday. You could have 5:30 kicks. You realistically could have 5:30 kicks, 6 o'clock kicks, 6:30 kicks on both days, and it wouldn't be much. CBS would have to work with NBC a little bit for the Sunday night game. I get it. Maybe it's a 5:30, and maybe they do one at 9 that week. The SEC, fortunately for that week, David, the schedule isn't it's that bad week. You know the week I'm talking about. Alabama plays like UT Chattanooga or somebody like that. But It is a weekend with Florida, Missouri, LSU, South Carolina, and UGA in Tennessee. Those are your three far and away best games on the SEC schedule. Seems that, I don't know, those Masters folks seem to like it when Georgia plays. Maybe the limos can all go from Augusta right to Athens at sunset for a 7:30 tilt between the Vols and the Dogs.
Is it in Georgia this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. Maybe the game gets moved to prime time. But I will say, the other networks, like you're talking about the NFL, they're going to have to move their games back. They ain't moving anything. They ain't moving squat. No way. Honestly, they're laughing. If the NBC's not moving their kickoff.
Okay, I'm asking, would the NFL let CBS move their 4:30 start to 5:30?
Absolutely not. Nope. First off, you'd have kicking and screaming from Fox and NBC, and rightly so. And no, I think they would say to CBS, if the Masters really wants to go past our 4:15 or 4:25 kickoff window, if they don't want to end their third round, in my estimation, Mark, the NFL is saying to CBS, well, you need to negotiate with the Masters and get them to sign off by 4. And if they're not willing to do that, then you're probably not going to show NFL games that day. I don't know what to tell you. And maybe this is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to ESPN. Maybe ESPN's going to run some of CBS's games. Maybe they're all going to be given to Fox. Maybe NBC's going to get to run one Sunday afternoon, a couple of games. But I don't see the NFL for a variety of reasons, and I don't see their other network partners just trying to bend to help CBS here. I don't see that. So
well, the only reason I kind of say it, David, is that they're going to have to do the same thing you would think for Fox for the U.S. Open, and they may have to do it for NBC for the Olympics coming up. I mean, we're throwing the sports world into upheaval, and and David, you are far more involved in this than I am. I know that. And the odds are you're right. But maybe, just maybe, for instance, ESPN and the NFL Network are apparently going to do the NFL draft together. Do they want to? Hell no. I mean, they're not the Hatfields and McCoys. They don't hate one another, but they certainly don't want to help one another. But for this year, as you said, are the leagues talking to the networks? They're talking to all their network partners. And I do believe that while Fox and CBS, or rather Fox and NBC may be kicking and screaming, CBS can raise their hand going, I know you are, but Fox, you've got this little U.S. Open thing. And the Olympics are coming up. I think we all need to help one another here. Now, maybe I am just kumbaya and I'm thinking too positively over cutthroat business. But I do think for 1 year there will be some exceptions made. I don't think it will be as cutthroat because I think the other networks at some point are going to need favors of their own.
And I think that CBS is on bended knee to the Masters going, we get it. It doesn't matter what dates you picked. We were going to have these problems. But you think there's any way we could end the rounds by 4? Because we got this thing called the NFL. And I think you understand where we're coming from. All right, and then we'll see whether or not the Masters will do it, or the Masters is like, no, we've got another hour of sunlight. There's a part of me that would think that the Masters might be willing to do it because what if on Sunday we're tied? We need some sunlight to go back out and play sudden death here. Or what is it, 2 holes or whatever the Masters playoff is now. So and with the U.S. Open scheduling, and I know nothing, absolutely nothing, but the first thing I thought of, Mark, when the U.S. Open was rescheduled for that weekend, is the NFL season going to start on time? Or is it going to be pushed back 2 or 3 weeks? Because if it's pushed back 2 weeks, Fox has no conflict. Fox can do the U.S. Open, and then the next week the NFL starts. And that was the first thing I thought of. I go, is this a precursor for 4 or 5 weeks from now when the NFL announces its schedule? going to announce that they're going to push it just a little bit, give themselves just a little more time, or is Fox going to be in the same situation as CBS with the Masters, and the NFL is going to go, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Good luck.
And you've already heard the concerns of football people in the NFL for their lack of training camp time. I mean, my goodness, if you thought getting ready for a draft by remote was difficult for these NFL GMs, imagine if they do not have the full amount of days to prepare their teams. It will be Armageddon. And, I mean, the football, the first week will be so bad we won't... that's every year. It doesn't matter whether they practice all summer or not. The first few weeks are really sloppy. You know why? Because none of the flipping starters play.
Right. We've got 15 penalties a game the first month of the season. It doesn't matter when that first month occurs.
Thank you. Thank you. Enough.
Miller and Moulton. 479-5551, 479-5551. All this scheduling talk is going to lead into our poll question of the day, though. And I think in our backyard, it is a much tougher poll question than it is in a lot of other places of the country.
Oh, nationally, this is an easy question.
Right.
Lee, Collier County, much more difficult question. Quick footnote, David. I did check. I wanted to double check. Every golf course on the east coast of Florida is closed. Palm Beach, Broward, Dade. All three counties. No golf. We got a lot of golf people. They'll all text in and tell us, we don't do the PTI at the end and correct our errors and omissions. If we did, we'd need a whole nother hour just for mine.
That's not true. We usually do it as the show is going on. We usually don't wait to the end.
That's very true. But Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward close their golf courses middle of March for some and then to the end of March for Palm Beach. So they are all close. Open in Lee and Collier.
479-5551, Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text and talk line. When we come back, we will give you that poll question, and we will have the starting five. Today is a Pat Kerwin day. He'll join us a couple hours from now to talk all things NFL, as the draft is just, remember Chuck Woolery's 2-2, Mark? 2-2. We're just 2 weeks and 2 days away from the draft. 2-2. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for waking up with us on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.